Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Pius Yukiri, and today I'm with
Michael Oti.
Thank you so much for joining us. This is part 2 of having Michael Oti here with us. But you know, a new face, I've joined the conversation, and I'm here to really grill him, ask him so many tough questions back to back. Michael, are you ready for that?
I was already.
I like that. I like that. Please like and share the video, share to everyone, your friends, your family. We want as many people to see this because Michael here is going to be answering a lot of questions, a bevy of questions, and give us a lot of insights on a lot of different topics. We are going to continue to make money, to learn how to be not only better money makers, but also how to maintain it and build generational wealth. Let's get right into it. First off, let me start with the simple one. Michael, how are you doing?
My weekend was good. The weather's been a bit rainy today, but
True.
We give thanks.
Thanks. And pivoting from that exact question, you're an active person. Ladies and gentlemen, I've seen this firsthand. Michael goes on different, from fishing to cycling. Has this weather really affected your motive, or it has given you more drive to keep going on it?
So for me, going out is part of what fuels my creativity. So when you program and you're sitting behind a computer every day,
True.
You need to engage yourself with some outdoor activities so that you keep being creative.
True.
So in this weather, I still do what I do. There's fish that get bigger in this season, and there's trails that I still ride every day or every week.
Every week?
Yeah.
Wow. So still keeping active in the pouring rain. Wow. And the amazing thing about this is, as I've said, I've had the privilege of knowing Michael for a little bit, going on a trail with him, is the network you build. And the kind of people, when you see people, you see them fishing, you see them going around, you stop, you talk to these people, you get to know them. How important has that networking played in your career so far?
That networking has been the backbone of my career so far.
Really?
Exactly, yes. Because when it comes to networking, there's a book I read one time. It's called 6 Degrees of Separation, right? And the emphasis on that book is that you're 6 people away from whoever you want to be or whatever you want to be. Wow. So when it comes to networking, you need to network to get new ideas, to get new motivation, and you need to network to find new mentors because you will need them.
New mentors. So the thing is, as a young person myself, I'm talking to some people. Most of us focus on us. We focus on how can I do this better? How can I be better? Is going out to talk to people, getting to know people, getting to really establish how much, if you had to rank it on a percentage, how much percentage does networking play in being successful, in building a successful career? If you had to give it a score of 100%.
So when you say building a successful career, do you refer to IT or do you refer to general work life?
Let's do both. Perfect. Let's do both.
All right. So with both aspects in mind, I would say I'll give it about a 7.
7.
Yes.
Wow.
And the reason I give it a 7 is because when you work or whatever you do, whatever field you're in,
yes,
there's no way that you're going to have all the knowledge that you need, except you're doing the same role every day. And if you're at that point, you're no longer growing. The only way you're growing is when you start realizing that the world is not just your little pool, but there's a big ocean out there, and you need to go out there and see what the opportunity is that waits for you.
Oh, wow. Being able to assimilate and talk to more people. Right before I even keep peppering more questions, I'd like to say thank you, everyone, for joining us. You know, as just the beginning of this stream, please go ahead, like the video, share to your friends. While getting in-depth knowledge into our guest here, Michael. We're going to go in-depth on different topics from IT to personal development to just networking in general. And on that point that you just mentioned, networking, I am a fan of one of your latest endeavors, or will I even say latest? It has been a little bit, your TikTok page. Growing an audience, getting to know more people. Can you tell us a little bit about your story there?
So my story on TikTok started about 5 months ago. That's when I actually got on TikTok. I used to think it was an app for children and kids in general. So I picked up a new hobby, which was fishing.
Yes.
This year, started fishing this year.
Mm.
And so when I first went fishing, I would not catch anything. So I started looking for where I could find videos on how to set up my rig, my fishing line, things like that. And I found that on YouTube there were videos, but these were like long videos.
Yes.
They would take about 15, 20, 30 minutes just to get to the point of the matter.
Yes.
So I realized that TikTok was focused on shorter videos.
Yes.
So I went on TikTok to look for fishing videos and how to do stuff with fishing.
Yes.
And so that's where I kind of started getting my fishing tips on. So I decided, why don't I just post my fishing content on here? And I started to stream my content. Whenever I went fishing, I would stream my fishing content.
Yeah.
And, the first week, it wasn't that much,
Yeah.
But as time went on, what I realized was that people told me that they love to, listen to the conversations and they love the stories that I would tell. So whenever I'm fishing, I'm telling a story. So it's more like I'm just sitting there, and even if I don't catch a fish,
Wow.
I have like 2,000 people just listening.
Wow.
And so my goal was to get to 1 million before Thanksgiving on one of the videos I just posted.
Yes.
And that one's sitting close to 800K right now. And, in general, I see that I now get a bigger audience because of the fact that you engage them with a captivating story.
Exactly. Oh, wow. Wow. That is an amazing story. And not to, of course, you don't have to reveal anything too personal here. How has it been business-wise, that particular TikTok page?
So my TikTok page got monetized about 2 months ago.
Wow.
And I get paid for just the views that I get. I get paid for when I go live. I get tips. And I'm also on the Creator Marketplace, which is a new thing on TikTok. And so that's basically like a platform where sponsors can advertise with you. And they recommend what you're worth when you join. So they set me up about $1,200 for a video.
Wow.
But I haven't gotten any major sponsors yet.
Exactly.
But I do have some residual funds that come in from TikTok.
That is something else. So being able to talk, being able to network, then leads into building basically a business out of your hobby. Just after building those skills. And how long personally do you think it would take to build some of these networking, being able to talk to people? How long does it take to build those kind of skills?
The first thing that it takes to building a skill of communicating effectively with people, because that's what it is, effective communication.
Exactly.
The first thing that goes into effective communication is coming from a point of knowledge.
Yes.
You can't communicate effectively on what you don't know.
Yes.
So whenever you want to communicate effectively, you have to communicate what you know or what you have researched on to the point where you have something to pass across to the other person. And so being able to communicate from that point of knowledge or, maybe even deeper understanding makes your information somewhat interesting to the person listening to it and a bit more catchy than just, it's not like you're reading off a script. You're actually passing across a message from your point of view.
Oh, wow. And overall, can someone, to be successful, to be able to generate and get to a place of income and knowledge and success that we all want to reach, how soon does someone have to develop this skill? And how important is it?
Absolutely important, especially in the world we live in. And as soon as today, they need to start working on being more effective, starting from their homes. Communicate effectively to your spouse, communicate effectively to your children, to your parents. And when you're able to master that indoor communication, you can then take it a step up by trying it with other people.
Fantastic, fantastic. And now, Michael, we have covered some very great things, but there's a particular main point I want to hit. A main point about you, something that you're really known for. Right before we get into that again, thank you everyone for joining us. Exactly, I have to say it again, beginning of the stream. Don't forget to share the video, like, subscribe. We love that you're here. And drop a comment, of course. We have Michael here for the whole hour. We need your contributions. We need your comments to make this live stream go successfully. And now let's get really in depth with the main thing, your main hobby. People say IT. Tell us a general bit about IT and how it has played in your life.
Okay. So IT in general is a very big field.
Yes.
And, it's kind of like medical sciences. There's doctors, there's dentists,
Mm-hmm.
there's people in all aspects of medical sciences.
Yeah.
So in terms of IT, I came in from the analyst point of view, from analytics. So I'm going to give a brief history of what analytics is and the role it plays in the society that we live in now.
Yes.
So with the birth of the modern day computer and with the world going digital and trying to use computers for calculations, seeing that computers were better and faster at doing those calculations than humans.
Yes.
Sometime in the early 1970s, SQL was created, and SQL stands for Structured Query Language. So SQL then was created to be an analytic tool that would help consume data and break down data into meaningful blocks.
Yeah.
After about 8-9 years, in about 1984, Microsoft Excel was founded and introduced. So when Excel came in, the main reason for Excel was because SQL was a bit too complex for basic programmers and stuff like that. So a lot of people stuck with Excel, mastered Excel, have been using Excel. But sometime in about 2016, Microsoft launched Power BI, which is the newest and youngest tool that they have. So the edge that a lot of people coming into IT now from the analytic point of view have is if they're able to master some of these newer tools,
yes,
as opposed to learning the most from those older tools, because there's so many people in the market who have SQL skills. There's so many people in the market who think they know how to use Excel, and all those tools together, what they are used for is to analyze data that has been entered into the system and to help businesses make better decisions, hence the term business intelligence. So the whole industry of IT, or the aspect of IT that I offer people, is called business intelligence, and it covers data analytics, business analytics, and data engineering as a whole suite.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to, right before as we get in deeper, I want to give a full disclosure. Michael has taught me so much about data analytics. I took one of Michael's classes, which he'll tell us more about, and let's just say it has gone good. But now these questions I want to ask you are kind of from an outside that perspective, someone that hasn't been in the field and wants to know more. So, Michael, my first question to you is, isn't it a bit late to get into IT? So many people are into it now. Is the market oversaturated? No, to get into it right now?
No, the market is not oversaturated right now, and the trend, based on the studies and the forecasts of data collected, shows that by the year 2029, the IT employment sector would have increased by 25%.
25%?
Exactly.
1/4?
Yes, meaning that if you have 4 friends now,
yes,
1 in 4 of them would have transitioned fully to IT by the year 2029.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So we're expecting more growth in the tech industry. We're expecting more development. Okay. So, Michael, my next question is, I'm not really in a position to transition, go and get my bachelor's degree, go and get my master's degree. How can I tap into something like this?
So getting into IT doesn't require you to have the bachelor's degree or the master's degree or any of those papers that just, that's what I call them, paper.
Really? Yeah.
Because when it comes to the field that you're getting into IT, this is a field where people are being recruited for what they can do. So we know a lot of people now who are famous in IT, like Mark Zuckerberg and all those other people. Their foundation was not based off of the bachelors that they did not have, right? So in essence, I'm not trying to downplay the effectiveness of school and the education system. What I'm trying to say is that it's more about getting the skills, acquiring the skills, getting the certifications that give you the skill needed to get your foot into the door.
Yeah.
And that is what we offer in a 12-week program.
12 weeks.
Yes.
So you're saying within 12 weeks, I can go from not knowing anything in IT to being fully ready to get a job, get into the IT field.
Fully ready to start trying to get a job in the IT field. Because
Amazing.
the first 12 weeks is going to be an intensive 12 weeks. It's called a boot camp, kind of like when you go and join the army.
Yes.
It's not everyone that makes it, right? So the assurance is that when you do finish the boot camp and you're able to acquire the knowledge that we're trying to impact into whoever comes for the program, when you do finish that boot camp successfully,
Yes.
and it's not like it's so super packed. It's just twice a week, on Wednesday for 2 hours, on Saturday for 2 hours, and the rest of the time frame you study at your own pace within that 12-week period.
Yes.
But at the end of the 12 weeks, if you're able to acquire the skill and pass the exam that we would give you at the end, then you'll be qualified to start trying to get into a role by, just working on a project by yourself. And that project can take you anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. At the end of that project, we would then advise you to go ahead and start applying to different positions that would then be available to you.
Oh, wow. So in total, that's still within 18 weeks, I believe, if I'm doing my math correctly.
That's somewhere under 6 months, anywhere from
4
to 6 months.
4 to 6 months.
Yes.
To transition.
Yeah.
Okay. So 4 to 6 months, you commit to it. What does life after the boot camp look like?
Life after the boot camp starts with working on your first project.
Yes.
In the process of working on your first project, we offer an internship program. The internship program is basically designed to give you a hands-on experience on real-life work scenarios, and you handle a big project that's going to be similar to what you'll be doing on your day-to-day when you do get placed. So at the ending of that internship program is going to be when you're finishing your project. Then you start, getting mock interviews, interview preparation, and then you start building your resume and putting it out there.
Yes.
I advise people not to go ahead and start burning out their resumes. And what I mean by burning out your resume is that when you apply to a job and you're not qualified, they save that copy of your resume for anywhere from 6 months to maybe even 1 year. So when you go get more qualifications and you go get more skill and you're now qualified for the position you applied for 4 months ago, they're going to look back in their computer, and as soon as you send in your resume, their computer is going to pick up the old version of your resume, which is going to be stored on their database.
Yeah.
And it's going to refer to that old version and disqualify you from applying for the new role.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
So you basically blacklisted yourself when you go that
route. Which is why when you apply to a job, they may not give you the job now and then. Maybe after 6-7 months, they can reach out to you and be like, hey, we're looking through our applicants and we found your file and want to know if you're still available now for a position that we were not willing to offer you months ago.
That's a very interesting one. So now we know the tech industry is booming. There's a lot of people coming in. There's a lot of things going on. And it's easy. The time frame to transition is not that long. 4 to 6 months is way better than 4 years of a bachelor's degree. So what kind of money can we be looking to make with that after getting placed? And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, being placed means you're getting your first position. That means you're getting your job. Being placed means getting your job. So what kind of money could we be looking at that point?
So at the point of placement, you can be looking at maybe I'll give a rough estimate of $75,000 to $100,000.
$75,000 to $100,000
annual salary.
Amen and amen. Amen and amen to that. $75,000 to $100,000 from your almost on your first job. It's very possible.
It's very possible, achievable, and we have a track record of people who have done and achieved that and surpassed that.
Oh, wow. And I'm very sure the first question on my mind and the first question that I feel everyone would have is how difficult is that boot camp. How difficult is gingering me up with the amount you just said? How difficult is it?
It's not super difficult. It's difficult enough for someone who has a goal in mind. Right? It's similar to any other endeavor that you want to pursue. The motivation has to be within you at the start. If not, you would never finish. So if you came in and you were not motivated enough, there's a possibility that you may finish the bootcamp and you have not acquired the skill, or you're not fluent enough in the coding languages you've learned. You need to have that drive within you to keep practicing, to keep working on it, to keep improving yourself until you're ready to get into the position that you desire. But on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say I'll give it a difficulty of a 6.5 to 7.
6.5 to 7. Okay. It's not a 10 over 10. And to that point, you have made your resume, you have done all these things, you have made these kind of sacrifices. Will there be lots of hand holding? Will there be a lot of guardianship afterwards, or is it more of a swim or sink type of situation?
Because it's a new tool and it's a new job, and you're kind of getting acquainted, we do offer support programs to help our newly placed people kind of maintain their role, or get more acquainted as they transition.
Yes.
But there will be some level of assistance after your placement if you require it. Most of the people who finish and get placed do not require this assistance, because the goal of getting them grounded and getting them through the bootcamp program is so that they acquire the foundational skills to stand on their own and support themselves through the career transition process. But if they do require help, we are available to provide the assistance, and we have a team of mentors and a committed team that is going to help you keep your job for as long as you need.
Awesome. And alongside that, we're getting a question here. Do we need a license or further certification after the bootcamp? After going to the bootcamp, do we need to work on any other certifications to kind of help us get in the door of the IT field?
The certifications you have can never be the main reason you're hired. No matter the certification you have, that's never going to be the main reason you're hired. The biggest thing you have to offer every business or everyone that meets you is yourself. It's not the skills you have. It's not the clothes you have. It's not the amount in your pocket. It's yourself, your personality, your person, your persona.
Oh, wow.
They feel that aura because, people can lie, but vibes don't lie. So during an interview process, you may be more qualified than some other person, but not get the role because that person has a more pleasant personality than you do.
Oh, wow.
So it's all about having a balance of skill and personality. Nobody wants a very skilled person who treats other people like crap.
No, true.
And at the same time, nobody wants someone who is very happy and friendly but has no skill. So the jack of all trades thing kind of comes in between. You need to be able to balance out having a good personality and delivering a high standard of work.
Yes.
And you land the position.
And right before I forget this, Michael, I want to come back to that jack of all trade quote. You said it last week. I want you to say it one more time for all the people at home. Just hear it one more time. Jack of all trades, master of none.
A jack of all trades is master of none, but better than he who is master of one. And the efficiency of this saying, a lot of people have butchered this saying into feeling that's a bad thing, which is what I was talking about last week.
Yes.
It's really not a bad thing because you need to have some level of versatility to your skill. You need to know, you can't just come into for instance, let's say you're using the Microsoft Office suite. You can't say you're really good at it when you only know Excel or you only know Word. You need to know all of them at least to some percentage to be useful enough to a business to employ you for, knowing that set of skills.
Oh wow. And let me speak to the eligibility, the age of things, because from the outside looking in, is this when's the right time to get into data analytics? When is the right time? Is it when you're younger? Is it when you're older? And what's the least amount of age that young people can get into this as well?
In terms of age, I would say that people can get into this all the way from when they finish high school.
High school?
Yeah, from their freshman year, whenever they're old enough to actually get a first job, they can get into IT, because there are people who are in their early 20s who have been placed. And the right time to get into it is when you find out about it.
That's an amazing one.
Is when you find out about it. It's like, if you find out when you're young and you don't get into it, by the time you get older, you may look back and you're always going to regret the things you didn't do more than the things you did.
Sure.
Right? So if you find out about something and you see the opportunity and the potential, opportunity is not going to wake those who are asleep. Right? You need to be awake to grab the opportunity. And what makes you awake is understanding that the opportunity is not going to last forever.
Yeah.
And while you have that offer on your table, take it.
Take it. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I'm feeling the energy. I'm feeling the vibe. I'm feeling the motivation. I want to do it. I want to get into it. How soon can I get into data analytics?
So you can get in as soon as this month. Get into the training program. If you would like to, for anyone who is listening who may want to consider our program, I'm going to drop my contact details with the studio here. And of course, you could always look up my website, spacebridgeanalytics.com. And on there, you can always enroll. We have a program starting this month where you can get started for your 12-week journey. And you can also talk to one of our consultants or our counselors to walk through where you're at, what your expectations are, and what we have to offer you with your current skill set.
Awesome. And it really comes full circle with where we started, networking, being able to talk to people, because going to this bootcamp, learning the skills, but not having the networking skills and not having those particular technical skills, you're not going to get anywhere in data analytics or as a career, a successful career as well. There's no point of missing out on any particular skill is basically what I'm trying to say. So as a person, after going through all these things, which particular skills do you think are most important for people to focus on right now?
At the moment, I would say the most important skills for people to focus on now, in terms of foundational skills that can help them get placed,
yes,
are skills that have to do with database management, data engineering. So certain people have good communication skills, but they're not really good with programming or coding languages or things of that nature.
Yeah.
So when those people come into IT, there's room for people who don't want to, or who are not so savvy with coding. And that room or that avenue comes in the space of business analytics and, working with the PO, the PM, which is project owner, project manager, project owner, product owner, I mean. So these people who have acquired some of these IT skills over this 12-week process, or from whatever other means that they acquired it, and maybe they are not too tech savvy and they are not too good with the coding language, but they do have some level of understanding of it. When they come into IT, they can come into roles of business analysts or business analytics. What is a business analyst? Business analyst is basically someone who is going to have to be the middleman between the PM and the data analyst.
Yes.
So the PM is going to be the person who is going to define the scope of the project, who is going to define the requirements for the project, and he's going to break down these requirements into step-by-step agreements with the business analyst.
Yes.
And then the business analyst is going to gather these requirements and take it back to the data analyst team or the IT team. Oh, wow. And then the IT team is going to look through the data that they have or that's accessible to them and say, okay, this is something we can deliver, or this is not something we can deliver because we don't have so-and-so data which is required to deliver this.
Yes.
So in the process of doing this, what I've come to see is that people who have good communication skills but not so good coding skills can still be business analysts. They're still in the IT space.
Yes.
And then some other people who are kind of more reserved or who don't want to deal with the day-to-day presenting reports and dealing with product owners.
Yes.
Those people can go do back-end stuff. They can go do data entry. They can go do things that have to do with the transformation process.
Yes.
Right? And they wouldn't have to deal with these people. But all in all, the whole field breaks down to what we call ETL.
ETL.
And the ETL process is basically extract, transform, and load.
Yeah.
The E for extraction starts from where the data is collected. For example, you buy stuff at Walmart. They take your data, what's the payment type, credit, debit, what's the customer name, what's the product list, what's the invoice line. All those data is collected into tables. And when it's collected on a daily basis, that data is extracted into their database system. So that setting up the extraction process is mainly done by the data engineers.
Okay.
Yeah. So the transformation process is also mostly done by the data engineers. Okay. And the transformation process involves things that have to do with, let's say, for example, you put in your information on a platform, and maybe one of the fields you entered is your social security or your bank account information.
Yes.
Part of the transformation process is that the data engineer needs to, in the back end, block off the first maybe 8 digits and, only show you the last 4 digits of your account or the last 4 digits of your credit debit card. Some of those things are security protocols that have to be done to prevent data loss and maintain data integrity. That is also done by the engineer. And then when the transformation is done, it's then loaded onto the front end where the analyst who is in charge of reporting is going to build a report based off of the requirements he got from the business analyst. And then either he or the business analyst is going to have to present that report to the stakeholders of the business. And that part of the presentation is what we call the loading, because you're loading the data into dashboards that can be consumed by the high-level stakeholders who can just, see the high-level overview of how the business sales or transactions are going in general.
Oh, wow. That was I like that. That was a very good summary of kind of the process of the data itself. Leaning into that, there's so many paths. You just mentioned a couple of paths for people that are a bit more quiet. They can go into the back end. People that are a bit more outspoken can go in the front end with being a business analyst. For you in particular, if you had to take a step back, starting afresh from zero, putting yourself in the shoes of all of us here, what would you do? Where would you start from?
I would start from being a data analyst because there's more demand for data analysts, and it kind of requires some level of, high level of communication efficiency to be a business analyst, because you need to know or have some familiarity with the KPIs that the business monitors. And a KPI is a key performance indicator. And so if you're being a business analyst in the health field, for example, you need to be familiar with some of the KPIs that health industry monitors so that you'll be able to speak to those things when you're dealing with the stakeholders.
Amazing. And what you said is very true. So having that knowledge of the back end helps you if you eventually want to then move into the front end. Exactly. So first off, even before I can keep peppering questions all through, but first let me say thank you everyone for joining us. I'm very sure you have liked, you have subscribed. Please go ahead and share it. Let as many people come in. Let's get to learn more and more and more about a booming industry. If you missed it, 25% growth in the tech field alone within the next, was it 9 years? 9 or before 2029, there's going to be 25% growth. We need to get into it. So if you want to key into it, according to what Michael has just told us now, that there's a position for everyone. Whether you're outspoken, you don't really like the code, you don't really like all that, typing different languages is not for you, you can become a business analyst. And if the back end is more for you, you're more of a reserved person, you prefer to work with the code, there's also a position for you. And according to let me not say it all, so it won't be as if I misquoted Michael. How long would it take again to become all these things I just mentioned?
You can get started in anywhere from 4 to 6 months.
4 to 6 months. And my favorite part, what is the salary again? Well, expected salary?
Anywhere from 75 to 100 grand.
Amen and amen. I'll say amen and amen to that. $100,000. That's what I like to hear as apostle and all of the leadership of this ministry say. We're all going to six figures. This is a path for you. If you want to key into this, this is the time to key into it. So go ahead and share it to anyone that you feel could benefit from this. Michael, my next question for you would be a question that comes directly from our audience right here. This asks, for someone that have gone through a boot camp but can't get a job, what would you recommend?
I would recommend two things to the person. First is to do a thorough review of how much skill they actually acquired in the boot camp that they went through. Because they may have gone through the boot camp, but the boot camp didn't go through them. Right? So if you go through a boot camp process,
yes,
the basics of you going through that boot camp is not to be able to have a certification. A lot of people feel that they want to go through a boot camp to have a certification from SAFE, certification from, say you're Microsoft certified and all of those. But before a company would ask you anything about certifications, your first interview is going to have to do with some technical questions. And in that technical phase, the way you perform will determine if you move on to the next phase. Because in this industry, your interviews are going to be 4 or 5 phases.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So if you've done a thorough review of yourself and you feel that you've acquired the skill enough to get a reply when you submit your job or for your application, the next thing you need to ask yourself is, how is my resume prepared and what do I look like on LinkedIn? Because the way your resume is prepared, you have to have certain keywords in your resume when you're applying for a job, because with the number of people transitioning into IT and trying to move into the industry, the first screening phase of your resume is not going to be done by a human being. You're moving into IT. You're not going to move into an IT world and expect them to behave like they were in the Stone Age.
Oh, wow.
Right? So this is the IT world you're getting into.
Exactly.
You have to understand that your first level of screening is going to be done by artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Especially if you're applying to a job that offers multiple positions. Except you're applying to maybe a small company that has 10 people, 15 people. Be very sure that a human being will screen it then.
Yes.
But if you're applying to a big company that receives hundreds and hundreds of applications daily, know that a computer will screen it first. So during that first level screening being done by a computer, they're going to look out for what we call keywords. So depending on the position you're applying for, there's certain keywords that you have to have in your resume. And if you're missing those keywords, even if you have the skill and you're very good and your resume looks good, you won't get any call back.
Oh, wow.
And if you haven't gotten a call back for 1 month, stop applying. Don't even wait for 1 month. If you apply for 2 weeks, in the 2 weeks, don't just rush and send out your CV to every company you see. Maybe if you see 60 openings or 60 job offers, pick like the 20 that speak to you and apply to those and wait. If your resume is good or good enough, even if they don't want to hire you, they will let you know they received your offer, but they are currently considering other people. Okay. If you don't hear back at all, it's a major red flag.
Really?
And if you do hear back and you hear they're considering other people, that's fine. Look for ways to, tailor your resume a bit more. But the feedback you get from your first wave of applications should determine how you modify your resume and your LinkedIn. So when you do apply and the computer, you get past the computer stage and a human is now reviewing your CV, the first thing they will do is to check your IT persona presence.
Yes.
And how do they find out? They're not going to look for you on any of the social media apps. They'll look for you on the one and only professional business networking platform which we know of, which is LinkedIn. Yes. And if they look for you on LinkedIn and maybe they see you first and your picture is you at some party holding a cup and maybe you're wearing your traditional outfit or you're standing next to your family of 12 children I'm not saying any of these things are bad,
Party.
but you need to understand that when you present yourself in the IT space,
Yes.
your presentation alone determines the salary range before you speak.
Oh wow.
Before you speak. And then when you speak, you either adjust that range to go higher or lower.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you're adjusting that range, when they're doing the interview, your technical know-how and communication is going to nail in, further hone in that range to where you can come in from making 60 to making 120 simply because of how you've presented yourself.
Oh wow.
And people come in from making nothing to making almost six figures because they're able to present themselves well.
Yes.
And yet some other people who do have skill, because they lack the ability to package and present themselves, they find themselves falling short and not being able to come into that frame that they do deserve.
Okay. That is some very good tips you just gave. Just to recap that. So, and correct me if I'm wrong. So first step, so if you're out there and the job market is not going well for you, you got into a boot camp, it's not working out, the first step is to reevaluate your skills, look at your resume, reevaluate your resume, make sure you have the good resume, and then reevaluate your LinkedIn. Yes. I hope I got everything. Did I miss anything there?
No, you got it.
Exactly. Perfect. And now let me ask you this. So in your journey so far, what would you say some of the mistakes or things you would have changed if you could go back and do it all over again?
If I could go back and do it all over again, I believe one of the things I would have changed is I would have started applying for jobs way earlier than I did.
Really?
Yeah, because I personally waited for a whole 12 months. Yes, so after I finished my boot camp, I kept working on projects. I worked on close to 6 projects. I became an intern, and I kept on trying to build this skill. What I realized is I wasn't trying to build the skill. I was trying to build my confidence in speaking of the skill. Because if you know the skill and you have the skill, it should show in you when you speak about it, right? So I wanted to make sure that I found myself at that comfort zone to where I could speak to any question being asked,
yes,
without sounding like I was a newbie.
That's a very good fact. So, if you could go back, you would improve kind of the way you spoke about the skill, so you could have started applying earlier.
I would have started applying earlier, and I would have also realized that I was actually overqualified by the time I started applying.
By the time you started applying. Oh, very interesting. Very, very good. Very, very good. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. Thank you so much for your comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. We're learning so many things. I am learning so many things. I'm telling you the truth. We have a question right here. Recently, there have been many job cuts in some of the well-known big tech companies. What confidence should a fresh person have in the IT industry, having known these facts? Thank you, Pastor Sam. We really appreciate that question.
The confidence that someone should have in these facts is this. It's similar to times and changes. For example, we know Tesla has been one of the most stable stocks that people felt comfortable to invest in.
Yeah.
You know, they rose all the way from 700, 900, 1,000 plus even.
Yes.
But I looked at Tesla 2 days ago, and a share of Tesla is going for $192.
You're lying.
That's more than a 65% drop.
Ooh.
Yes. And so I began to look into the studies. I was like, man, are they going to come back? Is this going to ever bounce back up?
Yes.
And studies show that these things happen in the cycle of things. We see it as a bad thing, but that is the cycle of things. Everything goes up to come down, right? And when it comes down, it's so that more people can now buy in while it goes up again. So that is somehow similar to IT.
Yes.
There's been a few cuts. I understand Twitter cut people because Elon Musk bought it.
Yes.
That cut that he did and his actions are what led to his stock price drop. And at the same time, Facebook cut people because they also had some technical restructuring.
Yes.
You need to understand they cut these people because a lot of the work that these people have been doing is now being replaced by computers.
Oh, wow.
who is going to program those computers? Who is going to control those computers? That is where you come in. You're not coming in as someone to be caught. You're coming in as someone who will stay home and do the work that 4 of the people who were caught from going into work were doing before.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. So basically what you're saying is, as a field in general, IT, data analytics were safe. There's nothing to worry about getting into it right now.
We're very safe because unless companies stop collecting data, that's when we wouldn't be safe. But every data is collected, even in the medical field, for example.
Yes.
If you go to your hospitals and your line of therapy is partly being computed by a computer. There's AI that helps to determine your line of therapy.
Yes.
And I'm very sure of this because I've worked with fields where people are, handling and determining people's medical routines. And I see that the computer has been able to understand how these things go to where, depending on, for example, someone's cancer stage,
yes,
and depending on the symptoms they're exhibiting, that is what's going to determine their lot. And the lot is the line of therapy that any pharmaceutical company is going to apply to them.
Oh, wow.
So some of these things are largely being controlled by data. So data science is the new oil field that we had before. The new oil boom now is in data.
Yeah. That's how important data is. And then us being a data analyst is just like being an oil contractor back in the days. Wow. That's a very new way of looking at it. And to that point, to that fact, after getting into all these companies, getting into all these industries, there's a question that comes to mind immediately when especially when applying. What are some of the things on a resume, some of the keywords, some of the things that they look for when trying to hire candidates?
So most of this is largely determined by the position you're applying for.
Okay.
So let's say, for example, you're applying for maybe a position in as a Power BI developer, for instance.
Yes.
If you're applying for a position like this, some of the things they want to see is they want to see that you're comfortable to operate DAX. You can code in DAX.
Okay.
They want to see that you're able to. They want to see that you're able to build reports. They want to see that you're able to manage most of. Thank you. Sorry for the breaking transmission, guys. So partly what I was trying to explain is this. When you're applying for a role, the role you're applying for determines the keywords that your company is going to be looking for on your resume. If you want to find the best keywords to use for your resume, don't build your resume off of what you feel your skills are. Go on something like My Resume Builder or some of those resume building apps.
Yes.
Pay for, maybe 1 week membership, 1 month membership, whatever it is.
Yes.
And so what they'll provide you is they'll first give you a template that you're going to use to structure the shape of your resume. And then secondly, you're going to see an industry filter when you're building the resume.
Oh, wow.
So you're going to see maybe medical sciences, IT related, analytics. You'll be surprised at how many industries they have. Now, as soon as you put in those parameters, it's going to start generating keywords for you. So you're going to immediately see keywords, and it's just going to kind of generate a line of phrase of what the standard keywords are. Okay. And you just pick those keywords and put them into your skill sets on every bullet point.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So that's the life hack, and that will get you through the AI. That will get you
through the first level screening. When it comes to the human interaction and proving your technical skill, nothing can get you through except you actually know it.
That's very perfect. That's very perfect. And one question that comes to everyone's mind now is, we passed the interview, we got the job, we're excited. What does the day-to-day look like? Do we clock in at 7 a.m.? What is the meetings like? Is it strenuous? How stressful is it? What does the day-to-day look like in data analytics?
So on a day-to-day, Most of the people in data analytics work from home.
Okay.
And part of working from home means that you own your hours. You determine what hours you want to, put in work.
Yes.
So for me, I do my first meetings in the morning at 8:30 a.m. Probably have another meeting somewhere before 10. And then unless we have a release or we have something we're deploying to production,
yes,
we mostly don't have any other meetings. I just let them know what I'm working on today and what I worked on yesterday. Okay. And when I'm done with my tickets, I review it with the PO maybe once a week if I did 5 or 6 tickets and closed it out. And that's it. Minimal interaction. I get to spend time with my family. Wow. And play around with my kid every now and then. And I'm doing a full-time job.
A full-time job. Wow. And you said it before, and you say it again, that if you have to start again, data analytics is the same way you would go down every time.
Exactly.
And what would you say, now after hearing all this, what would you say to anyone that is still doubting, anyone that is still on the fence, that this is a good path to take?
I'll tell them that they need to find one person that maybe they knew before or they look up to who is in that field, and they need to talk to that person. They need to kind of get feedback from that person in light of how difficult is this career, how beneficial is it, how rewarding is it, because a lot of people think that IT is overrated or that the income rates are magnified.
Yes.
They're really not magnified. They're actually underrated because a lot more people have transitioned and changed their whole career simply by getting into IT.
Wow.
So I would say that if you are looking to get into IT, one, find someone in IT, talk to the person, go join forums on IT, go join forums on analytics.
Yes.
Forums. Update your LinkedIn with the skills on analytics that you've found.
Yes.
And just see how many recruiters start reaching out to you. That's a good indicator of if a field is thriving. If you change your resume, if you change your LinkedIn to an analyst, see how many recruiters reach out to you. If no recruiter reaches out to you in like 2 weeks or 1 month, then don't do it. But if you do it and you start seeing recruiters reach out to you, and these are recruiters who are really looking to give you opportunities to get your foot in the door, then you really need to go acquire the skill to be able to get in.
Yes. And now I'll speak as someone, I've given the benefits of the doubt. I have to mention this, having experience. And when he says recruiters, he means, and you can tell me a little bit more about this. Recruiters, these are people looking for you to give you a job. These are people wanting you to come and apply for them.
Yes, these are people looking to fill up opportunities and positions in companies, and there are not enough people.
Can you imagine?
A good example is, for instance, my company or a few of the other companies of the people I've worked with or helped place.
Yes.
When I place someone, I'm not really doing that person a favor. I'm doing myself a favor because the company that I helped to place you in pays me for bringing you to them.
Oh, wow.
So when a lot of people say, oh, I went to a boot camp program, I haven't been placed, this and that, the truth is that the field that you did your boot camp in, maybe Scrum or cybersecurity or any of those other fields, is good, but it's not a foundational tool. It's a tool to give you a raise in the job you already have.
Really?
Yes. Even the certifications. If you acquire a certification after you get a job and you bring back that certification to your employer, they would either give you a bonus on that month's paycheck or they can give you a raise. So instead of going to acquire Scrum Master and try to help a team of developers who are fully fledged in IT to kind of manage the flow of their work, why don't you acquire the skills needed to be a developer? And then when you come in as a developer, go out there and acquire Scrum, come back to your company and say, hey guys, I'm now a Scrum Master. Guess what? They'll make you the Scrum Master of your team and give you a raise. But if you were a Scrum Master and you apply to the company, they're not just going to hire you off the street to be the Scrum Master of their team. They know their process.
Oh, wow.
You need to know their process before you can be their Scrum Master.
Wow.
Do you understand?
I definitely understand. And to that point, that's a very interesting point. You've kind of mentioned about Scrum Master. How does data analytics compared to other similar IT fields like let's say automation, Java, kind of the different programming skills, all the other things you can go to bootcamp for? How does data analytics stand up against all these ones?
Data analytics stands up against this one simply because it's a field that doesn't require too much previous. You don't need to have had a master's or a bachelor's. It's something you can get into. It's not the destination, it's the start.
Okay.
Right? So when you get in with data analytics and you get into the IT field, for you to thrive or to maintain your role in any IT position,
yes,
you have to keep growing. You have to keep learning.
Yeah.
So, for example, when I first got in as an analyst, I had certain skills, SQL and this and that.
Yes.
But as time went on, I began to realize that I needed to learn Snowflake. I needed to learn WebScape. I needed to learn Python. I needed to learn to use Snowflake, Git Bash. But guess what? I learned all those on the job, right? So there are two parts when it comes to getting a job in IT.
Yes.
You can either get a job in a small company or a job in a big company. The advantages and disadvantages of both are these, and I'll try to be cautious of time.
Oh, no worries.
So when you get a job in a small company,
yes,
maybe it's your first job, for example, you'll be very happy the first 2 weeks, maybe the first month.
Yes.
But get ready for what's coming for you, because when you're in a small company, they want you to wear multiple hats. Today, you're going to be the data engineer doing the extraction. Tomorrow, you'll be doing the transformation. Tomorrow, you'll be the analyst who's going to be presenting the report that you extracted and transformed and loaded. So when you get a job in a small company, be ready to do all those multiple positions.
Yes.
Now, the advantage of it is that you're going to learn a lot. You're going to be pushed to the edge to where you're forced to learn.
Yeah.
So if you're malleable and you are able to adjust, you will grow very quickly. If you're not, you will fall out because they will see your inadequacies very quickly. Now, the disadvantage is that, you're going to have to work double time.
Yes.
You're going to have to, transition. The first 3 months are going to be torture. But on the long run, when you do go from a small company to a big company, the transition is so big because, one, the big company may pay you more, but you also find that you are now much more qualified to be in that big company. But the big company is going to have you doing very minimal things. They may have you adding a column every week or removing a column from some tables, which is not going to let you grow much. You may find yourself doing the same thing every week for 6 months.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and after 2 years, you find that even though you're making more, your co-parts or your cohorts who got jobs and were making less now have more skill in IT than you.
It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, so there's a pro and a con for both sides.
That is amazing. Michael, it's been amazing having you here. To wrap it all up, we have covered a lot of different topics from networking to IT. My last question to you today would be, for all our viewers at home, what are some of your lasting tips, whether it's in IT or in general? What tips do you have for all of us here?
The tip I have for everyone here is that tomorrow is now, right? A lot of people have so many great plans for tomorrow.
Yes.
But tomorrow is actually whatever you start right now.
Exactly.
If you say, I'm going to start it in the morning, guess what? By the time you wake up, the time that you call your morning, for another person who has been working from midnight, do you understand what I'm saying? So whenever you wake up is your morning, but realize that you need to get it going immediately, and you don't need to wait for anything, because at any point in time that you wait, time is lost.
Exactly.
And you can never get back any time that is lost.
It's gone forever. Michael, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here with us. We have learned so much. My mind is already compounding from all the things we have learned today. Michael, thank you so much again for joining us. Right before we go, we already have a tradition. Right before we log off, before we can go, we have to get some good jobs in the chat. Our apostle, even though he's not here with us on stage, he's definitely here with us on digital, and we need to tell him and both of us here, good job. Can we get that going in the chat right before we log off? Yes, please. Good jobs, good jobs, good jobs. If not, we cannot go home. And I'm telling you, we all need to go home. It is very, very cold outside. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, we have 2 good jobs going. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Everybody. Let's get some good jobs in the chat so I can all go home. Another good job. Sister Glow, thank you, thank you, thank you. Pastor Sam, thank you so much. Let's go, let's go. If you enjoy the chat, none of us are living here today until we get enough good jobs. That's another one. Good job, good job. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's keep it rolling. How many is that so far? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me see. We have a last minute question here. What company is Hege with? I'm not sure which. Michael, have you heard a company called HEGE? Hege. Have you ever heard that before?
Not familiar.
Not familiar with that. But please, yeah. Okay. Yes. How can? That's an amazing question, Michael. How could we reach you? Can you kind of give some of your links, maybe your LinkedIn names, just for our viewers at home in case they want to search you up and get involved in your program?
Absolutely. So if you would like to reach me, there are many ways to reach. The first is on our website, which is www.spacebridgeanalytics.com.
Amazing.
The second is to send me an email, which would be to support@spacebridgeanalytics.com.
Amazing.
The third would be you can always reach me on the phone number 972-816-6557.
Yes.
Once again, that's 972-816-6557. And let me know you're coming in from Threshold Ministries, and you get a 10% discount on
Woo! 10% discount. Ladies and gentlemen, that only happens here at TMI. Please do not miss out on that 10% discount. Michael, I can tell you from experience, I took that class. That discount, I did not get it. You can get that now. 10%. That's amazing. That's amazing. We had some more good jobs coming in the chats. That's 1, 2, 3. Oh wow, there's a lot of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Not okay. Awesome. I think someone got the website right there. 8. Let's get 2 more. Let's get 2 more before we wrap it up. Good jobs. 2 more before we wrap it up. Who wants to be that lucky person that says, that's another good job right there? Amazing. One more. We need one more good job. Honestly, this has been an amazing time tonight. I've enjoyed being here with every one of us. I really appreciate you, everyone, for coming, spending time with us. Michael, thank you once again for spending time with us, coming in the cold and rain.
Appreciate you for having me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We can't wait to see you again next week. Have an amazing day. Have an amazing rest of your week. Come back. There's still the stir. There's still so many services going on here at TMI. We're very active. We're always live. Don't forget to check out our social media. Press the like. Press the subscribe. And we hope to see you next time, okay? Have a great night, everyone.